out. So what that means is that upon the higher low, that is where we would get our confidence that it will break out from there. And that's going to be your best area to get a buy before the actual breakout. Now, if Solana does do that, if it gives us that entry, then I've got targets up here using the trend-based fibs. And of course, the first target is always the prior high. So this area here at around $260 is always going to be your first target. But if we create a higher high from there, then we've got targets sitting at around the $280 area, the $305 area, and then about the $345 area. Now, remembering daily time frame, high analysis will take a long time to reach these levels, and there will be lots of ups and downs in between as we get there. So these sorts of plays are going to be either extremely low leverage plays or spot plays. So using Solana as the example, I really like to use trend-based fibs to set my targets, especially when we're in price discovery, because we don't have price action to the left to look at in order to help us. And I usually use on a high time frame like the daily. So drawing your trend-based fibs from the bottom to the most recent high and then back down to the bottom of the retracement. And the targets are usually the 61.8 and the 78. And if we can get beyond those two targets, the best areas are around the 100%, this area here at the 127. And then in an ultra bullish market, we might even get to the 161 and beyond. So everything I'm going to show you in this video, my targets have been set using this trend-based fibs. Finally, you need an invalidation. So if Solana within this pattern right here does not create a higher low, and in fact it creates either a double bottom, which I wouldn't like in this circumstance, or it breaks into too much of this wick right here, that's where I would hold off for a bit longer. The market would probably be extremely bearish if something like that were to happen, and I would reassess whether or not I thought more downside was to come. But as long as price stays away from the wick area of this red vector candle and we get a high low, I think that would be a good buy zone for Solana. And that would put the buy zone currently somewhere between about 179 to 192. Moving on to Cardano. Now, Cardano is creating a symmetrical triangle after an uptrend. That means we should expect continuation to the upside. We can see here that we've got 1, 2, 3 touches to the top trend line. So again, could be another 1, could be another 2 to come. But this is where we have to start to pay attention, because this is where the setup may present soon. When I say soon, remembering daily time frame, that can mean anytime within the next 4 weeks. So what we would be looking for again with Cardano is within the triangle. Again, we also want to see a higher low created. What I do like is that if we get a higher low, it will likely line up with this 50 EMA here, which is the blue EMA. And so if we got like a hammer or a railroad track or some kind of candle formation like that off the 50 EMA, I think that would be a good area to buy. Now that EMA is going to move as more candles are formed. So the price can't be exact for the entry zone, but we'll do an estimation using this area right here, and that would put Cardano between 0.93 to 1.01. The invalidation, same thing. If it came all the way back down to touch the bottom trend line one more time, that also wouldn't worry me too much, because we do only have 2 or 3 touches to the bottom trend line. So if we got something like this, I think that would actually be quite lucky, pending how the candle closed again. So, you know, hammers that look like this candle right here, railroad tracks, star formations, things like that. As long as they're bullish candle formations that touch the bottom trend line, I would still be okay to buy that. But the invalidation, of course, is going to be that we break down below the trend line, then we need to reset on this whole idea. So if we get our area of interest, if we get the right area to buy into Cardano, then the ranges for taking profit, again, is going to be the previous high here at 1.25. And then it's going to be the first range of about 1.37. The next one will be somewhere around 1.54. And then the next one, if we're super bullish, is going to be at about 1.75. Now, guys, I am going through a lot of altcoins in this video, but I'm saving my favorite one to the very last. So make sure you stay with me to the end. And if you're enjoying the content so far, be sure to smash that like button. Now, the next one I have for you is Curve. And again, this might take a little bit longer because there's more that needs to form with this one, but it's still worth keeping an eye on. Again, you can see I've used the trend-based fibs fibs on this. I'm seeing the initial push. I'm seeing the retracement down, and I'm seeing multiple touches to the trend line, both of them top and bottom, but there may be more to go. So we're setting up the idea. This is where we can set our alerts. Once our alerts eventually fire, we come back, we assess the final candles, and then we make our decision to buy. So with this one, because I only have 2 touches to the bottom trend line, I actually probably would buy if we got a 3rd touch down there. So it would be 2 things that I would be looking for here. Again, a higher low that was somewhere around the 50 EMA, so similar to Cardano. And second of all would be a 3rd touch to the bottom, as long as we saw wicks like this when it touched there, or again, same kind of candle formations that I've already mentioned. And so for now, I'll put the buy zone around here at 0.8 to 0.9. And my take profit, again, prior high, following that, it will be somewhere around 1.37, 1.55, and finally about 1.8. Of course, if we happen to make it to the 3rd target, we would reassess these and decide if we should hold on to them for even longer. I'm not saying that this is the top of the cycle type targets. These are just going to be the initial targets should our entry present, and we want to watch this trade play out on the higher time frame. Now with XRP, it has already broken out. I have been covering XRP on this channel, and the buy area was this 50% vector, which these candles came in and held as support. So really you should already be in on XRP if you watch this channel, but I wanted to include it because this is a really good example of where FOMO tends to set in, and where people are like, oh, what do I do? Do I buy it now? It's not pulling back. And everything pulls back eventually. You know, when this move through here was happening, probably people also thought would never pull back, and it does eventually. So if you're in a situation like this, first of all, you know, we've blown through our first take profit, so that's great. And we're heading to our second one, which is going to be somewhere between 3.29 to about 3.4. So what do you do if you didn't get in on a trade that you really want and it takes off like this? Eventually, it's going to top out. You could still draw the exact same analysis. So you could still use the trend-based fibs. You could still draw where it broke out to, all of that kind of stuff. And you could still draw where you think most people will look to take profit. Because instead of you taking profit there because you can't, because you didn't get in on the trade, that's where you would look to these areas for rejection. And if we got rejection at any of those areas, then you would expect a pullback to happen. And that's when you can start to draw your analysis. You will now be drawing this, but you'll be drawing it at the next level. And you can set yourself up, set your alerts, wait for as long as you need to wait, and then you can get in at a much better price than trying to FOMO in now because you think it's never going to stop. The other thing that you can do that's a really good idea is have a look at the coin that took off, in this case XRP, and use something like CoinMarketCap, and you just go to the coin that you want to look up. So let's use XRP in this case. And if you scroll down, you will see that it tells you here similar coins to XRP. You could find things that are similar that maybe have not taken off yet, and you can get into those instead of trying to chase something that has already taken off. Another thing you can do, because sometimes I find this a bit hit or miss, because, you know, like, let's just be honest, 𝗶𝗶 is not similar to XRP in any way. One other thing you can do that's a little bit better, I'll just switch sides so that you can see this. On the left-hand side here, if you scroll down, it has tags. And so you can go show all, and it's tagged everything that relates to XRP. So you can find the narrative of the coin that you want. Click on the tag. Like, let's just say you think XRP is an enterprise solution. So you click on the tag, and then it brings up all the other things that are similar. And from there, you can find something that maybe hasn't moved yet. And so you could do that by going, okay, let's have a look at 7-day down. What's performed the worst in the last 7 days in a bullish market? Because that might be still finding its support, and you might be able to get in on that. And then you just simply go and chart that. And if the chart looks right, you might decide to buy that instead of trying to chase XRP pumps, for example. So when you have that in mind, something that is kind of similar to XRP, or it's in the same realm because of the whole American-owned thing, is HBAR. I was going to say HBAR because I'm an Aussie, and I always get teased in the comments when I say H. So then I try to change it to H, and then I stuffed up because of habit. Anyway, you get the idea. Now, before I move on to HBAR though, I want to take a moment to remind you about the incredible resources we offer at Trade Travel Chill. If you've been struggling to navigate this market or want to learn how to build a long-term crypto investment strategy, our community is here to help. From exclusive videos and live sessions to in-depth tutorials, you'll gain the tools and knowledge you need to trade with confidence. Plus, you'll get access to our private chats where we share market updates in real time and dive even deeper into opportunities like the ones we're covering today. If that sounds like something you need, check the link in the description and join us. So with HBAR, a little bit dissimilar to XRP, it's only just broken out. So there is a chance that we will get a retest on this one and a chance for an entry. I personally am not really a retest entry kind of person, but if I miss a move, I miss a move. That's really going to be my only opportunity to get in. And so I'll do it in that case. But generally, I'm a fairly aggressive trader and investor, and I prefer to buy off support bottoms and higher lows within patterns as opposed to the breakout, then hoping we get a retest, because you don't always get one. But in the case of HBAR, if we are lucky enough to get a retest, then we can get an entry. Because the breakout has happened, we have to let it go if you're not already in on it. And it might be similar strategy to what I told you before, where it might come back to its prior high, then it might retrace from there, then you can look for entries. But buying in now is FOMOing into green candles, and that doesn't make sense. So let HBAR do whatever it's going to do. If it happens to come back into this vector candle here and create a higher low, that is going to be a good buy zone. And if we're lucky enough for that to happen, then the take profit ranges are going to be up here, with the first one being 0.44 area, the next one's being about 0.5, and the final one being up here at around the 0.58. Again, at that point, if we get through all of those three targets, we would reassess and decide if it's worth holding on to for even longer. We're in a good part of the cycle where that could potentially definitely be a possibility. The invalidation for this, of course, is going to be if the price comes up to this prior resistance here, creates a double top, and we have a change in structure from there, meaning that price comes up, can't break through the resistance, we get a lower high, then we would expect that this is actually going to start to fall over. So we wouldn't be looking to invest at that point in time. We would have to do a whole new reset looking at lower vector candles. And, you know, if we're lucky enough and the cycle is continuing, then we get to buy in even cheaper. Moving on to FIL. Now with FIL, it may actually break out soon because we did hold this 200 EMA support for a really long time. I'm still going to hang out and see if we can get a high low within this pointy end right here. But on this one, we might also need to prepare to buy on the breakout. Again, like I said, I'm not a retest person, but if you are a retest person, let it break out and retest. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But for me, the reason I would buy on breakout in this particular case is because I see the W already here. Therefore, as long as we held this support and we held above the 200 EMA, anything inside of this pointy end of this triangle is a buy for me if I get the right candle formation. So again, being hammers, star formations, railroad tracks, things like that, bullish engulfing, etc. Invalidation of that would be breaking below the support, because these wicks show me the trapped traders. If we break below support, those traders are no longer trapped. The take profit range is the prior high at about 8.5 kind of area, and then the next one would be at about 9.5, and we'd have to reassess from there. I've only put 2 in for this one because I really only set my very initial take profit ranges at the 100% when I'm using the trend-based fibs, but I would actually be fairly confident that this one might actually go to the 127. But you know, let's get the entry first and we'll figure that part out later. Now guys, you're going to need somewhere to buy all of these coins on. So if you're looking for an exchange to trade on, consider Bitget. Bitget is an exchange I've been using for a long time. It also has the coin futures options here, which is one thing that I really love. So if you own a particular altcoin, like let's just say you got that ADA trade that we covered on today's video and you wanted to make more ADA in addition to trading the long side of it, then you could buy that ADA spot, move it over here to the coin futures section, and you can open a low leverage trade with it. So therefore, not only are you benefiting benefiting from the price of Cardano increasing, but you're also going to be making more Cardano as you do it because these contracts settle in the actual coin itself. Amazing feature to use during a bull market. So definitely if that's something you want to do, then you want to be using Bitget to do that. And the link in the description of this video gets you a 20% trading fee rebate. So even more savings there. We're making money trading the right contracts and we're paying as little fees as we possibly can. Just be sure to use the link in the description of this video in order to get that lifetime discount. Render's been a bit kind of horrific for me, to be honest. I've been contemplating in and out, but the structure is looking good, and so if I remain unemotional about it, then